I knew something was wrong the moment my daughter ran toward that stranger. Frick Park was full of noise that Saturday morning. Kids laughing, dogs barking, the smell of pine trees and fresh grass hanging in the cold air. I came there to give Penny a normal day, something soft in a life that had become too sharp since her mother died. But normal never lasted long around me, not with the life I lived. I stepped out of the black SUV and watched the people around us pretend not to stare. They always noticed the suit, the security, the aura of danger I carried with me. I didn't care. My only focus was on my 4-year-old daughter, bouncing with excitement. "Daddy, can I go to the swings?" she asked. Her smile always hit me right in the center of my chest. I nodded. "Stay where I can see you, princess." She ran off, golden curls dancing while my men took their positions. I sat on the bench, checking messages I couldn't ignore, even on weekends. The Empire needed constant attention. The danger never slept. Then I heard her squeal. When I looked up, Penny wasn't on the swings anymore. She was standing with a young woman sitting alone on the edge of the playground, a woman I had never seen, a woman who did not belong among the wealthy families around us. Her dress was simple. Her shoes were worn. She held herself with quiet dignity, but I could see the struggle in the way she sat, like someone carrying too much weight. My instincts sharpened. I stood, ready to signal my men, but Penny was already pulling the stranger by the hand toward me. "Daddy, this is Miss Heather." "She knows Mommy." I froze. Not many people said my wife's name anymore. Hearing it from this stranger's mouth hit me harder than any bullet I'd taken. The woman, Heather, looked at me with steady gray-blue eyes. No fear, no disrespect, just something calm and sad. "Mr. Castellini," she said softly. I didn't realize who she was until she said her mother's name. "I used to be your wife's nurse during her final days at Mercy Hospital." For a moment I forgot how to breathe. The memories came fast, the hospital smell, the machines beeping, Catherine's fading voice, her small hand in mine, the helplessness that had nearly broken me. "Security check," I muttered into my cuff. My men closed in instantly. Heather stepped back, hands trembling just slightly. "I don't want trouble. Your daughter approached me." I recognized her from Catherine's photos. She has her mother's smile. My jaw clenched until I felt pain shoot up my temple. I studied her face, searching for a lie, a trap, an angle. I found sincerity instead. "Miss Heather said she used to read stories to Mommy when she was sick," Penny added, swinging Heather's hand. "She knows the penguin story." I waved my security back. For the first time in years, I felt something unfamiliar in my chest. Not fear, not anger, something else. "How long did you work with my wife?" I asked. "6 months," she answered. "I stayed until the end. She asked me to deliver something to you, but when I went to your house afterward, your security wouldn't let me near." Something inside me cracked. "What did she want you to deliver?" I asked, my voice low. "Not here," she said, glancing at Penny, who was now crouching on the ground to look at a ladybug. "I tried contacting you for 2 years. Your people always blocked me." My throat burned. Catherine had tried to send me something and I never got it? Before I could speak, Penny tugged my sleeve. "Daddy, can Miss Heather come get ice cream with us? She likes strawberry like Mommy." I looked at the woman's tired eyes, the limp in her walk, the way she held herself like she was used to pain but refused to break. "My driver will take you to Riverside Cafe in 1 hour," I said. "I have a shift at the diner in 2 hours," she replied. "I can meet you in 30 minutes, but I won't get into a car with your men. I'm not that trusting, Mr. Castellini. I did something I hadn't done since my wife died." I almost smiled. 30 minutes, I said. "Phil will watch you until then." As she walked away, something inside me shifted, something I didn't understand yet. Back in the SUV, Penny chattered non-stop about her new friend. I barely heard her. My mind was stuck on the hospital room, on my wife's hand slipping from mine, on things left unsaid. "Sir," my head of security said, "preliminary information on Heather Bennett." I listened without looking away from the window. Former oncology nurse, 2 jobs, medical debt, rheumatoid arthritis, 1-bedroom apartment. No record, not even a parking ticket. Everything about her was real. And that scared me more than any enemy I'd ever faced. Because real people could break you deeper than bullets. 30 minutes later, I walked into Riverside Cafe and saw her sitting at a corner table. Back to the wall, eyes on every entrance. A nurse shouldn't be that cautious. But a woman carrying a dead woman's secret? She would be. I sat down across from her, ready to hear what Catherine had tried to tell me from beyond the grave, ready to open a door I had kept locked since the day she died, and somehow sensing that once I opened it, nothing in my life would ever be the same again. The moment Heather placed the envelope on the table, the entire cafe seemed to go silent around us. My heartbeat filled my ears like I was standing on a battlefield instead of a riverside patio. I had buried so many secrets, so many regrets, but nothing hit me the way seeing Catherine's handwriting did. I reached out, but Heather pulled her hand back slightly, giving me space. She wasn't afraid of me. She wasn't trying to control anything. She was simply present, calm, steady. That alone sent another wave of unease through me. "You never opened it?" I asked. Her answer came quickly. "Some boundaries shouldn't be crossed." Catherine trusted me. Her loyalty to my wife, a woman she barely knew outside those hospital walls, struck something inside me that I wasn't ready to face yet. I broke the seal with trembling hands, something I hoped she wouldn't notice. But her eyes softened. She noticed everything. The first line of Catherine's letter hit me like a punch. "My dearest Richard, if you're reading this, I've finally found someone brave enough to reach you." I closed my eyes for a moment, letting her voice echo in my mind. Then I forced myself to keep reading. With every sentence, my world tilted more. She wrote about Paul, about overheard phone calls, about files delivered to our home by mistake, about deals with the Cortese family, about betrayal. By the time I reached the end, my hands had gone cold. "She knew," I whispered. Heather's expression told me she already understood. She found out more than she ever told her doctors, more than she told anyone. I looked up at her. "How long have you known?" 2 years, she answered. "Since she gave me the envelope, I tried to deliver it 3 times. Your head of security threatened to have me arrested." My stomach twisted. Sanders. The man who had been beside me for a decade. The man I trusted. The man I didn't want to believe capable of betrayal. "Why didn't you leave town? Why stay involved?" I asked. Heather took a shaky breath. "Because she asked me to look after you, and Penny, in whatever small ways I could." Her honesty felt like a weight pressing on my chest. For years, people had come to me with motives, schemes, fear. No one came with sincerity. No one except Catherine. "And now, Heather." Before I could respond, she reached into her purse again and placed a small silver flash drive on the table. "This contains altered medical records," she said. "Your wife's oncologist was connected to the Cortese family too." That was when something inside me snapped into clarity. This wasn't just betrayal, it was murder. "They pushed her into treatments that killed her," I said quietly. Heather nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "I noticed irregular dosages. Charts that didn't match the orders. When I tried to report it, they transferred me to another floor." My jaw tightened with a slow, dangerous calm I had not felt in years. "Why tell me this now?" "Because you deserve the truth," she said, "and because Catherine wanted you to know." I stared down at my wife's letter again. The truth burned through me like fire. My wife had died believing someone she trusted had betrayed her. And I never knew. When I finally looked up, Heather was already standing. "Do you need privacy?" she asked gently. That small gesture, that quiet understanding, it disarmed me more than any weapon. "No," I said. "Stay." We sat while I read the letter again, slower this time, letting every word settle. By the end, I felt like I had aged 5 years. "She didn't want revenge," Heather said softly. "She wanted you safe. She wanted Penny safe. She wanted the truth to reach you." "Paul has no idea what's coming," I murmured, "but he will." My phone buzzed with a message. Unusual activity at the office. Paul had been there. He was moving fast. Panic flickered in Heather's eyes. What does that mean? It means he thinks he can erase his tracks, I said, pushing back my chair. But he's too late. I turned to leave, but her voice stopped me. What happens now? For the first time since Catherine died, I didn't have an answer ready. Instead, I found myself looking into Heather's eyes. Tired, kind, brave, and the truth rose uninvited. Now, I said quietly, I protect the last person my wife trusted. Her breath caught, and a soft tremble moved through her shoulders. Not fear, something else, something I didn't dare name yet. I stepped toward her, lowering my voice so only she could hear. You're not safe anymore, not alone, not with what you know. I've never been safe, she whispered, but I never expected anyone to care. I swallowed hard. I cared, more than I should. I'll send a car for you, I said. Tonight, be ready. She shook her head. I told you. I don't get in cars with your men. And I told you, I said, taking one step closer, that things have changed. For the first time, her eyes softened. Then I'll meet you halfway, she whispered. I left the cafe with Catherine's letter burning in my pocket and Heather's quiet bravery haunting my thoughts. My wife had given me one last message, but she had also given me something else, a woman who carried truths that could destroy me or save me. And suddenly I wasn't sure which one scared me more. I didn't expect Penny to be the one who softened the walls I kept around my life. But when I brought Heather into the mansion for Sunday dinner, something inside me shifted in a way I wasn't prepared for. When she arrived at the gates, she looked small against the backdrop of the estate. Her simple blue dress moved in the autumn breeze, while security scanned the taxi she came in. She held her bag close, like it contained her whole life. I stepped outside, ignoring the cold air biting at my hands. Thank you for coming, I said. Her eyes met mine, and for a second, I felt an old ache open in my chest. Catherine's absence lived there, but now something else stirred beside it. Penny will be happy to see you, I added. She gave a small smile, polite but tired. I didn't want to disappoint her. Inside, the house was warm and bright. Hardwood floors. Art on the walls. Photos arranged carefully to hide the truth of my world. No one looking in would guess how much blood bought that piece. Before Heather could take it all in, Penny's scream echoed from the staircase. Miss Heather! She ran straight into Heather's arms, stuffing a toy penguin into her hands like it was a special gift, watching them together. I didn't know what to make of the feeling rising in me. Something protective, something hopeful, something dangerous. During dinner, Penny talked non-stop, filling the silence Heather and I didn't know how to navigate yet. The way Heather listened to her, really listened, made my chest tighten. Catherine used to do that. She gave people her full attention, even when she was fading. When the plates were cleared, Penny tugged on Heather's sleeve. Read me Mommy's favorite poem, please? Daddy said you have the book. Heather glanced at me for permission. I nodded. In the library, Penny curled against her side as Heather opened the worn poetry book she'd carried with her. Her voice was soft and steady as she read. Halfway through the page, I felt Catherine in the room, her scent, her warmth, the memory of her hand in mine, but it didn't hurt as sharply as before. Something about Heather's presence made the grief feel shared, easier to breathe around. When Penny finally fell asleep against Heather's lap, I felt a pull inside me I couldn't ignore. You've taken a risk coming here, I said quietly as she laid Penny down gently. I've lived with this risk for 2 years, she replied. Trying to reach you was always dangerous. That's different now, I said. She tilted her head. Is it? Quote, before I could answer, everything changed. 3 days later, a car tried to run her down. My man saved her by seconds. I brought her to the safe house that night, a modest place on the city's edge. Comfortable, warm, stocked with food and flowers. I watched her walk inside for the first time, shoulders drawn tight around her fear, but still trying to act brave. You can't go back to your apartment, I told her. I have patients. They need me. I'll arrange coverage, I said. Your job will be waiting. She sank into the kitchen chair, hands shaking. I didn't think he'd try to kill me, she whispered. He's desperate, I said. That makes him dangerous. She looked up at me then, eyes shining in a way that made my chest tighten. You're protecting me, she said. Yes. But why? The truth sat heavy on my tongue. Because you're the last piece of Catherine the First have left. Because Penny already trusts you. Because I don't want to lose another woman tied to my wife. Because something in me calms when you speak. But I couldn't say that. So I said the only thing I could. Because my wife trusted you. She swallowed hard. And do you? I didn't answer. Not yet. I didn't know how. Days passed. Strange, quiet days. We worked side by side, studying medical files, linking Paul to every cruel decision made during Catherine's final months. I watched Heather more than I should. The way she winced when her joints ached, the way she hid it, the way she stayed gentle even when talking about horrors she'd witnessed. One night she asked the question I'd been avoiding. You never told me what kind of business you run. I looked up from the documents. You already know. She didn't flinch. I know enough to understand you help people too, more than they'll ever admit. Her words stunned me. Most people saw the violence first, the shadows, the danger. She saw something else, something I hadn't shown anyone since Catherine. You're not afraid? I asked. I should be, she said softly, but no, I'm not. Before I could reply, the warehouse door opened. Frank walked in with Penny at his side, carrying cookies. She squealed and ran straight to Heather. Miss Heather, I missed you! Heather laughed as Penny climbed into her lap, a sound so warm it filled the entire room. I stood there watching them, a child who had lost her mother, and a woman who had held my wife's hand through her last breath, and something inside me moved in a way I hadn't felt in years. Later that night, as I tucked Penny into the small bed we'd set up, she looked up at me with sleepy eyes. Daddy, if I love Mommy in heaven but also love Miss Heather here, is that bad? Quote. My breath caught. No, I whispered. It isn't bad at all. But in the quiet hallway outside her door, the truth hit me with full force. Heather wasn't just bringing me Catherine's message. She was becoming part of our life. And I didn't know how to stop it, or if I even wanted to. The morning Dr. Marshall arrived in Pittsburgh. Everything inside me shifted from grief to purpose. Frank escorted him into the warehouse's secure room, and the man looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. His hands shook as he sat across from me. Heather stood near the doorway, medical files pressed against her chest. I never wanted to harm her, he whispered. They threatened my family. His excuses meant nothing to me. Catherine had begged for more time, more days with Penny, more nights where she whispered her dreams into my shoulder. And this man, this doctor she trusted, had signed away her chances. You altered her medication, I said. You pushed treatments she wasn't strong enough for. He bowed his head, guilt pouring out of him. He told us everything. The secret meetings, the money, the promises, the fear. He signed the affidavit, and we handed him over to federal agents who owed me favors. It was the beginning of the end. With Marshall's confession, the puzzle Catherine left us finally made sense, and Paul's empire began to crumble. Within days, raids hit his home and offices. Federal agents dragged him into a police car while cameras flashed. Watching the footage from the warehouse, I felt a strange mix of victory and pain. 2 years, I whispered. He walked free for 2 years. Heather stood beside me, close, but not too close. You did the right thing, she said softly. You protected your daughter. You honored your wife. Her words settled inside me with quiet force, but victory came with consequences. Heather had to return to her normal life eventually. Her apartment, her 2 jobs, her quiet routines. I should have felt relieved at the idea of her leaving the safe house. Instead, something tightened in my chest. Your involvement will raise questions, I told her. I've arranged a lawyer and a public statement. She nodded, though her fingers trembled slightly. I never wanted attention. I only wanted Catherine's truth to reach you. And it did, I said. You brought her voice back to me. Outside, rain tapped against the windows. The warehouse felt too small with her in it, yet too empty without her. A week passed. The city calmed. The Cortese family backed off. The danger that chased Heather finally eased. Then winter arrived. Pittsburgh transformed under the first snowfall. White covered every rooftop, every bridge, every quiet street. Heather moved back into her apartment, and the house felt wrong without her presence. Penny asked about her every night. When the invitation arrived for the dedication of the hospital's new oncology wing, Catherine's wing, I meant it when I wrote, "Penny and I would be honored by your attendance." When Heather walked into the hospital lobby that night, my breath caught in my throat. Her simple blue dress, the same one she'd worn at my home, looked like it had been made for her. Catherine would have liked her. I knew it. "You look beautiful," I said quietly. The heat rose in her cheeks. "Thank you." Penny ran circles around us, excited and loud, her little hands clutching a stuffed penguin. "Daddy says maybe Miss Heather will live with us," she announced happily. Heather's eyes widened, and I nearly choked on my breath. "Penny," I said, "remember what I told you about private things?" She shrugged. "But it's true." The dedication ceremony was simple and honest, two things Catherine valued above all else. I spoke about her strength, her kindness, her belief that good healthcare shouldn't depend on wealth. When I stepped off the stage, applause still echoing, Heather was there waiting. "She'd be proud," she said. I swallowed hard. "I hope so." Later, I led her to a quiet corner of the atrium, away from the noise. Snow drifted outside the tall glass windows. I pulled out an envelope and handed her a photograph I'd never shown anyone else. Catherine smiling in her hospital bed. And in the background, a younger Heather adjusting an IV pump. "She wrote about you in her journal," I said, "almost every day." Heather's lips parted in surprise as I opened the journal to the last entry Catherine ever wrote. "She deserves happiness of her own someday. If life brings her into yours again, let her stay." Heather looked up at me, tears shining in her eyes. "She wanted you to know," I whispered. The piano began playing Catherine's favorite nocturne somewhere behind us. The sound wrapped around us like a memory. "Richard," she said softly, "are you sure your life is complicated?" I stepped closer, my voice low. "Catherine taught me that love doesn't replace the past. It honors it. She wanted me to live again, and she trusted you." Heather looked down, her breath shaking. "I'm not sure I know how to fit into your world." "You already do," I said. "You brought my daughter comfort. You brought me truth. And Catherine chose you long before I did." Her eyes met mine, uncertain, hopeful, frightened, brave. "Then show me," she whispered. "Show me how to live in it." Spring arrived before we made anything official. We took it slow, gentle, honest. Penny pulled us together in ways I didn't understand but trusted anyway. One bright morning, the three of us stood at Catherine's grave. Penny placed flowers beside the headstone while butterflies darted around her feet. "Mommy would be happy we're all together," Penny said, gripping Heather's hand tightly. "I told her about you. I told her you make Daddy smile again." Quote. Heather looked at me, startled by the little girl's words, and I didn't look away, because she did. At that moment, with Catherine's memory all around us and Penny's small hand in hers, I understood the truth. Grief had shaped me. Love would heal me. And fate, guided by Catherine's last wish, had brought Heather to us. For the first time since losing my wife, I felt something warm and steady settle in my chest.